Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS, presenting to you the daily quiz for 26th of December 2022. But before we begin, let me remind you to join our official Telegram channel. You can do so by scanning this QR code that is given here or by clicking on the link given in the description box below. So do join our Telegram channel for all the current affairs updates on our workshops and also scholarship tests. Now let us begin and take a look at the first question for today. Consider the following statements with respect to emperor penguins. It is the tallest and heaviest of all living penguin species. This is the only penguin species that breeds during the Antarctic winters. They are listed as critically endangered in the IUCN Red List. How many of the given statements is or are incorrect? What is the context? According to this article in the Indian Express newspaper today, climate change is adversely affecting the Antarctic ecosystems, and the population of up to 97% of the land-based Antarctic species could decline by the year 2100 if the right measures are not adopted to tackle climate change. As the global warming worsens, Antarctica's ice-free areas are predicted to expand and rapidly change the habitat available for wildlife. One such species that would be affected is the emperor penguin. The emperor penguin relies on ice for breeding, and it is the most vulnerable of Antarctica species. This species of penguin is the tallest and heaviest of all the living penguin species, and it is endemic to Antarctica. Like all the other penguins, this emperor penguin is also flightless and has a streamlined body and wings stiffened and flattened into flippers. The diet of this Antarctica's emperor penguin consists primarily of fish, but it also includes other crustaceans. Please remember that these are the only penguin species or any bird species for that matter that breeds during Antarctic winter because they rely on ice for breeding. This article says that in the worst case scenario, the emperor penguin is at risk of extinction by the year 2100. This species is threatened by the effects of projected climate change primarily through the ongoing and future decreases in sea ice concentration and thickness. By observing this, in the year 2012, the emperor penguin was uplisted from a species of least concern to near threatened in the IUCN Red List. So coming back to our question, statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is also correct, but statement number 3 here becomes incorrect because it is not listed as critically endangered but as near threatened in the IUCN Red List. So the right answer to our question here would be one statement only because the question is asking us for incorrect statements. Moving on to question number 2. How many of the following schemes or initiatives are exclusively aimed at addressing gender imbalance and encouraging women scientists? Number 1, Manak Program. Number 2, Kiran Scheme. Number 3, SBI Power Scheme. Number 4, Nidhi Program. What is the context? The year-end review of the Department of Science and Technology published in today's PIB article has a mention of the schemes and initiatives that are in place to address the issue of gender imbalance in the field of science and technology. And that is why we've picked up this question for discussion. Let us discuss each of the programs to arrive at the correct answer. Manak program stands for Million Minds Augmenting National Aspiration and Knowledge. This program was launched in the year 2018 to bring 1 million ideas from middle and high schools across India. And the selected brilliant ideas would be shortlisted for showcasing at district level, later state level, and then at the national level exhibition and project competition. The primary aim of this Manak program is to attract talented young students to study science and pursue career in research. Is it exclusively for women scientists? No, it is not. Coming to Kiran Scheme. Kiran Scheme stands for Knowledge Involvement in Research Advancement Through Nurturing. This scheme is one of the several pioneering initiatives started by the Department of Science and Technology for promoting women in science. Its objective is inducting more and more women talent in research and development domain through various different programs. So this is exclusively launched to encourage women in science. The next one here is SBI Power. The Science and Engineering Research Board, also known as SERB, is a statutory body under the Department of Science and Technology. And this body initiated the SERB Power, which is exclusively for women scientists, to take up research and development at the highest level. So this initiative of SERB called POWER stands for Promoting Opportunities for Women in Exploratory Research. So if you know the full form, you know that this is also exclusively for women. Next comes the Nidhi program. This is an umbrella program initiated by the Science and Technology Department for cultivating knowledge-based innovations and the ideas driven by technology into fruitful startups. So Nidhi program supports startups from the ideation stage till the marketing stage. Right? This program is focused on creating a smooth and innovation-led entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country. Is this specific to women? No, it is not. So here in the question we know that only 2 and 3 are exclusively launched to ensure women participation in the field of science and technology. So the right answer to our question here would be option B, 2 only. Moving on to question number 3. Consider the following statements. The Good Governance Index is prepared by the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. Number 2. Good Governance Index takes into consideration 10 sectors. Number 3. India's first District Good Governance Index was released for the districts of Jammu and Kashmir. How many of the given statements are correct? What is the context? See, the government is celebrating the Good Governance Day, which is an occasion to mark the former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's birth anniversary. Let me know in the comment section in which year was this Good Governance Day first observed. Because there is a mention of Good Governance Day, we have a question on Good Governance Index. See, Good Governance Index is a comprehensive framework that was launched to assess the state of governance across the states and union territories in India. So this would help the government to rank states or districts. The index was prepared by the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances under the Ministry of Personal, Public Grievances and Pensions. The objective of this Good Governance Index is to create a tool that can be used uniformly across the states to assess the impact of various interventions that are taken up by the central and state governments, including in the union territories. So this Good Governance Index is based on 10 indicators. Those are agriculture and allied sectors, commerce and industries, human resource development, public health, public infrastructure and utilities, economic governance, social welfare and development, judicial and public security, environment, and finally, citizen-centric governance. Right? So this index is based on these 10 sectors and 58 indicators based on these 10 sectors. But earlier, the Good Governance Index was arrived at using 50 indicators based on these 10 sectors. So finally, this index provides a comparative picture among the states and also helps to develop a competitive spirit for improvement. Coming back to our question, statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is also correct. It is based on 10 sectors and 58 indicators. And statement number 3 is also correct. In January 2022, India's first District Good Governance Index was launched for 20 districts of Jammu and Kashmir. Therefore, the right answer to our question here would be C. All 3 statements given here are correct. Moving on to question number 4. Consider the following statements with respect to PRASHAD Scheme. Number 1, it is a central sector scheme implemented by the Ministry of Tourism. Number 2, the scheme focuses on identifying and developing pilgrimage sites across India for enriching the religious tourism experience. Number 3, the scheme is partially funded by the United Nations World Tourism Organization. Why this question? This article in the PIB today has a reference to the PRASHAD scheme and hence this question. So what exactly is this PRASHAD scheme? See, PRASHAD scheme is a central sector scheme which is fully financed by the Government of India. The scheme was launched as National Mission on Pilgrimage Rejuvenation and Spiritual Augmentation Drive, that is PRASAD, in the year 2014. Later, in the year 2017, Heritage was added to this and hence making the scheme PRASHAD scheme. This PRASHAD scheme comes under the Ministry of Tourism and it was launched with an objective of integrated development of identified pilgrimage and heritage destinations. The scheme emphasizes on infrastructure and development of amenities for tourists in the surrounding areas of these pilgrimage and heritage destinations. So coming back to our question here, statement number 1 is correct. It is a central sector scheme and 100% of the funding is given by the central government and it is being implemented by the Ministry of Tourism. Statement number 2 is also correct, but statement number 3 here is incorrect. Remember that this scheme seeks to leverage the voluntary funding available for CSR, that is corporate social responsibilities, and the government also seeks to make use of public-private partnership so that projects under the scheme are sustainable. But please remember that this scheme is not funded by UN World Tourism Organization. So the right answer to our question here would be option B, two statements only. In this question, only these two statements are correct. Now let us take up a previous year question from Prelims paper 2017. Which of the following statements is or are correct regarding Smart India Hackathon 2017? Number 1, it is a centrally sponsored scheme for developing every city of our country into smart cities in a decade. Number 2, it is an initiative to identify new digital technology innovations for solving the many problems faced by our country. Number 3, it is a program aimed at making all the financial transactions in our country completely digital in a decade. Select the correct answers using the code given below. The Smart India Hackathon was launched as a competition to develop innovative digital technologies to solve the issues of central government and ministries. So it aimed at engaging the youth of the country directly in nation building process. And this is being conducted by the Ministry of Human Resources and Development since the year 2017. So 2 is correct. But statement number 1 here talks about the scheme for developing every city in the country into smart cities in a decade. And this is talking about the Amrut scheme. So 1 becomes incorrect. And the third statement here is talking about the Digital India initiative. And making all financial transactions digital is not related to Smart India Hackathon. So 3 also becomes incorrect. Therefore, the right answer here would be option B, 2 only. Now let us take up the fact of the day for today, which is bomb cyclone. What is the context? According to this article in the Indian Express today, Americans and Canadians have been affected by massive winter storm called as the bomb cyclone. In this context, let us understand what bomb cyclone is, how and when is it formed. Bomb cyclones form when low pressure air comes in contact with high pressure air in the atmosphere, triggering a sudden drop in barometric pressure by at least 24 millibars within 24 hours. And the wind spirals in at the base of the storm as the air rises. The barometric pressure will continue to drop as long as the air continues to rise at the top of the storm faster than it can be replaced at the bottom. Similar to hurricane, lower air pressure yields stronger storm. But why is it called a bomb cyclone? Bomb cyclone is a dramatic name for what happens when the storm explosively strengthens while the pressure drops. This is also referred to as bombogenesis. It is called bomb cyclone because a low pressure undergoes bombogenesis, which refers to the quick rate at which low pressure develops. So you may ask, how are these bomb cyclones different from hurricanes? See, bomb cyclones have cold air and fronts. Please remember that cold air rapidly weakens hurricanes, but cold air is an essential ingredient for bomb cyclones. Number 2, hurricanes form late spring to early fall, but bomb cyclones form during winter. And number 3, hurricanes form in tropical waters, but bomb cyclones form at higher latitudes. There is a small task for you for today. There are 4 active regions which are hotspots for bomb cyclones. Let me know in the comment section which are these hotspots. That is all for today. Thank you for being with us. Keep watching and keep learning.